It's the Daily Dog.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Dog. Thanks for being with me today. It's a Friday, my friends, and we are making it a Masterpiece Friday today by going back to music by Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. I had planned to do this episode a week ago Friday, for our Masterpiece Friday edition, and I ended up postponing it to this week due to the passing of Alan White of Yes. And so last Friday we took a look at some Yes music and some of Alan's great playing. And so I am happy to finally close the loop on Brain Salad Surgery. It was last November of 2021 that we listened to all of Karn Evil 9 from this album. And now, finally, June of 2020, we are listening to the first four tracks from this classic 1973 release. We've got Keith Emerson on just about any keyboard instrument he can find, and he is also the composer of most of this music. We've got Greg Lake on vocals, the bass guitar, regular guitars, and production, and Carl Palmer on drums, percussion, and this is going to be interesting to take a look at. Percussion synthesizers in 1973. I had no idea. So let's start with the first track, y'all. It's always a good idea. And that track is Jerusalem. Now, this is an adaptation of a classic hymn by the British composer Hubert Parry, using words from the preface of William Blake's epic poem, Milton. I know of William Blake. I have set some of his words before, and I know of Hubert Parry. I actually most know Parry's music through his coronation anthem, I Was Glad. I have sung that one before with some choirs in these big cathedrals with these big organs, and it is a monster piece. And so I am looking forward to getting to know this one a little bit better. I know that this hymn has become a cultural treasure in Britain. It is sung every year on the last night of the proms, and it was even sung at Prince William and Princess Catherine's wedding. As I think about it, I'm drawing a similarity here in the United States between our national anthem and a song like God Bless America, right? Those are nationalistic songs, patriotic songs. One is our national anthem, one is just a treasured, a song about America. And so I think that's similar with God Save the Queen and with Jerusalem. I'm going to dive in, y'all. Let's just see what this is all about. This is Keith Emerson and Greg Lake and Carl Palmer with their rendition of the classic hymn Jerusalem. Off we go. Huh. Okay.
And it goes speak in ancient time, walk upon England's mountains.
Love Greg's voice too.
And was the Holy Lamb
He scoops a bit though, doesn't he?
on England's pleasant house.
Yeah. I don't mind it though. Tubular bells in the background there. He's got timpani? Awesome. And those sound like gongs. Satanic Mills. Dark Satanic Mills. Interesting line, isn't it? I think that refers to the Industrial Revolution back in the day when William Blake wrote these lyrics or this text. Lovely little counter melody up there in that synthetic trumpet.
my chariot of fire. I will not cease from mental fight, nor shall my soul sleep in my land till we have built Jerusalem. In England's queen and blessed.
That's an F. Flat 7. Back to 1. I don't know if I've ever heard a hymn like that given that kind of treatment. That's amazing. The thing that I find interesting, Jerusalem, right? The name Jerusalem, churches, Christian churches for forever have used it as a metaphor for heaven itself. And so I think the story is talking about, did Jesus come and walk among the grounds here in Britain and make it like a new Jerusalem amidst all of these satanic mills? That's fascinating. The other thing that I found quite interesting about this particular performance is that this adaptation is special in the history of musical technological advance. It has the debut of the first polyphonic synthesizer called the Moog Apollo, which was a prototype of what would become the Polymoog, which was available in the latter part of the 70s. Keith used this along with, good Lord, a Lyra monophonic synthesizer and a Taurus bass synthesizer, which, when everything is put together, it forms the Moog Polyphonic Ensemble, which was also called the Constellation. And it gave Keith access to a whole bunch of toys, didn't it? That was fun. Off we go, right? So the second song on the album is called Toccata. Y'all, this is an adaptation, another adaptation. And this is from, the piece that it's based on is Ginastera's first piano concerto, the fourth movement. Now, Alberto Ginastera was an Argentinian composer living in the 1900s. One of the more influential composers of the 20th century, especially in the Americas. This particular piece, this piano concerto, was written in 1961. Now, Emerson had considered, apparently here, adapting this movement for a few years, and as I read, it was Carl Palmer who expressed interest and proposed incorporating this extended drum solo into the middle of this adaptation, as he had been experimenting with these drum synthesizers. And apparently the group played it for a time in their live sets before going to record it, and it was only after they got done with doing the adaptation, with practicing it on the road, and then actually recording the thing and getting it on tape, that Keith Emerson thought, oh shit, do we have the rights to release this? And because Ginastera was still alive. I don't think he died until the 80s. And the piece was still under copyright, right? So he wrote to the publishers. The publishers said, no. So Keith personally got on a plane and flew to meet with Ginastera personally, and he got the composer's blessing. Ginastera said, you have captured the essence of my music like no one else has before. So I can't wait to get to this, but I have been sent a short video of Carl Palmer showing off his drums in October of 1973. So I want to start with that one. This is relatively short. I got to see his setup here and see what we're dealing with. So this is Carl Palmer from 1973. Here we go. And that is a drum setup, if I've ever seen one, y'all. Two timpani drums in the background. Some gongs. Switches to a hammer. Minor third. So he's playing like a real orchestral percussionist who would be asked to play a whole bunch of different percussion equipment in the course of a particular composition. He hit a drum head and it sparks that electronic sound. Did you see that? It's got that match grip. I've never been taught how to play the drums, so I don't know how to hold them like that. He designed and built one of the very earliest kits to feature electronic drums. I had no idea this existed, especially in 1973, y'all. And it rotates. This is amazing. Could be a one-man show. Looks like they're projecting, what is that, a dragon onto those gongs? He's pulling that, he's playing that with his mouth. Did you see that? The bell. I thought it was a hammer and anvil for a second. Absolutely incredible. Okay, so now my interest is really piqued, y'all, because apparently what I was told is that some of those electronic sounds I was going to think were coming from Keith, but no, they come from Carl. So that's going to be helpful for us here as we dive into Toccata. So the thing that was interesting about that is that the video says that was from October of 1973. The album was recorded from June to September of that year, and it was released in the UK in November. So he's getting people ready to experience what they're about to play. And so I think it's time for us to dive into Toccata from ELP. I am using the 2014 remastered studio version. Off we go. Whoa. Sounds like my family's lawnmower in the 1980s. That's funky, y'all. Man, that organ sound has such an aggressive chiff to it, doesn't it? It's a crunchy chord. Tritone action in there. Has a little bit of the Sorcerer's Apprentice in it. Dun, 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 dun. I can understand why Keith was drawn to this. I know the original piece, the piano concerto, a little bit. It's got these unrelenting lines and it just keep coming at you. And that's, I think, when the aliens invade. So this reminds me of what we were just watching from Carl. This middle section. Yeah, that's what he was playing before, right? This solo. That makes sense. Timpani are so much fun. They're so cool. Those tuned drums. Haha. Huh. I think that's an A and a C. The spatial nature of the way that it's put together, just remarkable. I can't imagine the pitch for this. It's like, yes, this is what we want to do with our next rock and roll record. Can't imagine that. And there's those synthesizers from the drums. Yeah. I would have completely thought that was Keith. And not would have, and I couldn't have figured out how he was possibly playing it that fast, but there you go. I think this is when the aliens leave with whatever they want from Earth. Damn, y'all. crunchy. Absolutely incredible. That's one that I need to put on the list to listen to again in my own time, so that I can see if I can figure out any more of that. I think I only got like those little minor thirds in the beginning. The voicings in the organ, especially in that, are so tight, and the sound is so aggressive that it's sometimes hard to figure out what sounds are actually being involved in that sonority. And maybe it was Keith going, I don't want you to know what's in all of that stuff. You're just going to hear this sound, right? Woo, that was fun. On we go, though, y'all. We got to get to a couple more. The next track, track 3, is called Still You Turn Me On, and this one is written by Greg Lake. Carl Palmer does not play on this track, and apparently it is a ballad, and gives us a much different overall texture than what we have heard in the first two pieces. So let's check out Still, ... You Turn Me On. Here we go.
You wanna be an angel, you wanna be a star, wanna play some magic on my guitar. You wanna be a poet, you wanna be my string. You could be anything.
Right into it without any introduction, right?
Do you wanna be the lover of another? Undercover, you could even be the man on the moon. Do you wanna be the player? Do you wanna be the string? Let me tell you something. It just don't mean a thing. You see, it really doesn't matter when you're buried in disguise by the dark glass on your eyes. Though your flesh has crystallized,
It doesn't matter what you look like, what you've been through, or what's going on with you. Still, you turn me on. That's a weird progression. Flat 2 to minor 1. Back like the beginning, but with higher stuff in the mix. It's like major 1 to minor 5, that progression. So much like a ancient folk song.
Someone get me a ladder. Wanna be the singer? Wanna be the song? Let me tell you something. You just couldn't be more wrong. You see, I really have to
Minor
tell
now.
you that it all gets so intense.
5, 6, 5, 7, 1 in
From
D.
my experience, it just doesn't seem to make sense. Still,
Raw.
turn me on.
And then a little funk motive.
Turn me on.
3, 4, 1 for 2 measures. It's so interesting.
Turn me on.
Maybe that's Greg Lake's little "You Turn Me On" motive there. And it ends in D. A short tune. I read that they decided not to make this a single release, even though it was a short song that could have done, I think, well on the radio and as a release. But since Carl didn't play on it, and it wasn't as truly representative of the band's overall sound at the time, they decided not to make it a single. Lovely little tune. And wow, great singing from Greg as usual. The last one I want to look at, y'all, is track 4 on this album. It is called Benny the Bouncer. The lyrics are by Greg Lake and Peter Sinfield. Sinfield also co-wrote the lyrics for Karn Evil 9. on with Greg Lake on this album. They had previously worked together on lyrics when Greg was in King Crimson. So as I read into this one is described as a honky-tonk piano-based song. And I'm like, well, we've had everything else in the kitchen thrown in here. Let's do a honky-tonk as well. So, excuse me, let's dive in, y'all. This is the last track that was recorded for the album. It is called Benny the Bouncer. And again, I am using the 2014 remastered version of this. Off we go.
Benny was the bouncer at the Parry dance. He'd slash a granny's face up, given half a chance. He'd sew you back to pieces, all for less than half a quid. He thought he was the meanest until he met with Savage Sid.
That's cute. He thought he was the meanest until he met with Savage Sid.
He pulled a pint of Guinness over Benny's boots. Benny looked at Sydney. Sydney stared right
Over
back
the
in his
4,
eye.
back to the 1.
Sydney chose a switchblade and Benny got a cold meat pie. Oh, what a terrible sight. Much to the people's delight. What hell of a fight!
Complete with an out-of-tune piano solo. I've never been in a saloon where they had such a good piano player. And I love the sound of the drums too. The sound of the snare on this. Right in your face.
Buried it in Benny's head. The people gasped as he fled. The end of a tale. Well, they dragged him from the wreckage of the Parry in bits. They tried to stick together all the bits that would fit. But some of him was missing. A part of him arrived too late. So now he works for Jesus as the bouncer at St. Peter's Gate.
That's hysterical. Keith giving us a little 4-measure tag there at the end, just to reiterate, yep, that's what we meant to do. And then it goes into Karn Evil 9. I'll be damned. That's something, y'all. This piece, have you looked at the lyrics of this? They're not long. This is some dark humor, y'all. Benny was the bouncer at the Palais de Danse. He'd slash your granny's face up, given half a chance. He'd sell you back the pieces, all for less than half a quid. He thought he was the meanest until he met with Savage Sid. Now, Sidney was a greaser with some nasty roots. He poured a pint of Guinness over Benny's boots. Benny looked at Sidney. Sidney stared right back in his eye, and Sidney chose a switchblade, and Benny got a cold meat pie. Shit's going down. Oh, what a terrible sight, much to the people's delight. One hell of a fight. So the people did not like Benny the Bouncer. And is Sid a hero or or a bad guy? The next line, Sidney grabbed an hatchet. I think a hatchet is what they meant, or is what that's referring to. Buried it in Benny's head. The people gasped as he bled. The end of a Ted? It's like Dr. Seuss, but weird. Then they dragged him from the wreckage of the Palais in bits. They tried to stick together all the bits that would fit, but some of him was missing, and part of him arrived too late, so now he works for Jesus as the bouncer at St. Peter's Gate. It's just what I needed on a Friday. A bit of whimsy. Can you imagine this? y'all. So here they are at the height of their powers. After Trilogy, and they're going into their next album, and they think, we've got a really good idea for this album. We're going to start it with an adaptation of a hymn. And then we're going to do an adaptation of a 20th century piano concerto by an Argentinian composer. And then we're going to do a romantic ballad. And then we're going to do a honky-tonk dark humor, story song. And then we're going to cap it all off with this 30-minute futuristic rock sci-fi adventure. What could go wrong, right? I don't know if that could be made in 2022, much less be successful commercially. But holy shit, I am sure glad that they made it, because that's fun, y'all. I can't imagine, well, I guess I can now, going through the entire album and having the highs and the lows and all these different sounds. What a really fascinating collection of songs and music for us. Well, that completes the cycle, y'all. Brain salad surgery. We've now had a chance to hear all of it. From Emerson, Lake and Palmer. It was released in 1973, and I had a good time. Thanks, y'all, for hanging out with me on this Friday. We'll be back soon with more episodes. We'll see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.